From the campus of Poly Prep High School in Brooklyn, New York, it's MSG Varsity Camera One coverage of high school football. Today's matchup features the Blue Devils of Poly Prep playing host to the Gales of Iona. Good afternoon, my name is Stefan Florval. Today's matchup pits against two teams coming off of very successful seasons, looking to duplicate that success with new primary quarterbacks under center. First, let's start with the visiting Iona Gales. They come into this contest with Mario Biaggi under center. He's a junior with limited experience, but a surplus in ability. Coach Victor Carollo says it's key to get him in rhythm early on. So look for some three-step drops and some short early routes to get the ball out of his hands and gain him some confidence early on in this ball game. And we switch sidelines to the Poly Prep Blue Devils. They've been 8-1 the last 2 years. They'll look to keep that locomotive in motion with quarterback Kevin Jaban, ranked number 10 in the MSG Varsity Top 100 New York City high school football players. He comes to this game as a dual threat player. He can do it all. But according to Coach Dino Mangiero, he's got to play within himself and be more consistent on the football field. That's the story here from the field. Starters and opening kickoff when we come back. It's right here on MSG Varsity.
Welcome to MSG Varsity's Camera One presentation of high school football.
First kickoff ready to get started away. Poly Prep will receive to open the contest. Let's get you the starters to set the table. The head coach for the Poly Prep Blue Devils in his second stint here in Brooklyn, New York, Dino Mangiero. Let's set on his offense. Quarterback Kevin Jaban enters an offense with backs Mike Hernandez and Greg Charles' offensive line. Jay Hayes, Sean Feldman, Mike Castellana, Akeen Mikos Farmer, and Brandon McVeigh. Opening kickoff return towards the near sideline, up the middle. And Chris Parker has a lane down the right sideline and is tackled down at midfield. Early on, the Blue Devils are in action at midfield. First and 10. Let's set up their defense, anchored by stout and tall Jay Hayes at the end spot. Of the three ends, Chris Pellegrino, Sean Feldman, and Mike Castellana. 8 players on both sides of the ball. A year ago, they started 1 player. Depth, an issue on this team, but 23 extremely talented kids compose this Blue Devil roster. Malik Rodriguez will come in motion, and they'll hand off to Bernardez, and it's going nowhere, stuck at the line by the Gales. Iona enters this game coached by Victor Carollo, 20-plus seasons in New Rochelle. On defense, Robert Azari, Cameron Tedder, and Malik Joseph are key in this 32 defensive front. The linebackers, Matthew Barney and Akil Shepard, and in the secondary, Christopher Cooper, Austin Jones, Michael Florio, Daniel Fisher, and Kyle Bonsi. Justin Combs, their very talented corner with offers from UCLA and Illinois, will not play this afternoon. So taking the snap at Jaban, he'll fire near side to Rodriguez, who stiff arms at the 45 and rumbles down to the 37 for a first down. Said we had 5 or 6 holding penalties, grabbing penalties, which negated long runs and served as penalties for 20-plus yards. We've got to limit the penalties. We've got to be more consistent, and we've got to run our sets, as Kevin Jaban will call for a timeout early on. We're just over a minute into play. Stefan Floral from the beautiful campus of Poly Prep High School in Brooklyn, New York, in the shadow of the Verrazano Bridge, as the Poly Prep Blue Devils and Iona Gales do battle in the first game of the season. And just a reminder, fans, if you want to see some great action from today's game, just log on to msgvarsity.com and click on the photo tab. There, you'll relive all the great moments from your favorite team. And remember, it's not just the players. We have photos of you, the fans, in the stands. It's all about community, and it's all right here on msgvarsity.com. Dino Mangiero's in his second stint as head coach of the Poly Prep Blue Devils. His first stint, he transformed the Blue Devils from a doormat program to a powerhouse. His first year, they went 4-4. From that point on, the next 4 years, they would win 34 consecutive games. Before Mangiero would head on, he was a player in the NFL, defensive tackle for 6 years. From 95 to 2001 was his first stint. Came back to Poly Prep in 06 and has been there ever since. QB keeper up the middle, and Jaban will scramble for about 6 yards on the near sideline. the extremely talented Kevin Jabon, the number 10 player in New York City high school football, according to MSGvarsity.com, a player who's a dual threat in their scrimmage prep against Fort Hamilton. Struggled in the first half, threw 2 pick sixes. Second half, he admitted that his coach chewed him out a bit. Came out in the second half as Poly Prep would score 34 unanswered points to rally from a 20-0 deficit. So a flag on the play. It's a sideline warning on the Blue Devils. So an early penalty, a reckless penalty on the Blue Devils, sets them back 5 yards. So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 38 from the Blue Devils, for the Blue Devils. Blue Devils face off against an Iona Gales team which is coming off of an 8-3 year. Coach Victor Carollo running a very quirky 32 defense with 3 safeties on the field. Matthew Burney, the inside linebacker, number 5, is a big key in this ball game. He calls the audibles for this defense. It really gets them aligned as a leader on the field. As Jabon will fire quick out to the far sideline and cutting up towards the first down marker is Greg Charles, the wingback. This Poly Prep offense, they like to throw the kitchen sink at you. They have about 10 different formations early on in the ball game. They like to feel out the opposing team, see which one of the sets work, and then they'll stick to that set primarily. Early on, a little swing pass on the far sideline to Greg Charles. Nets them a 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Poly Prep will get set from the 24-yard line. 2 receivers and 2 backs in the backfield. They'll hand off up the middle to Bernardez, and he's stuffed once again. The Gales doing an excellent job of keeping Bernardez in check, who had a 40-yard touchdown run against Fort Hamilton a week ago. Iona's anchored up front by explosive defensive end Cameron Tedder, number 55, providing an excellent push. He's one of the leaders of this defense, and what makes it possible for them to go to a 3-man front as he garners a double team on nearly every play. Up the middle, they are stout and talented with Tedder and Burney and a strong supporting cast. So it's a 1st and 10 for the 2nd and 9, for the Blue Devils at the 23. 9 minutes to go here in the first quarter play. Quarterback keeper up the middle for Kevin Jabon, and he's wrestled down at about roughly the 18-yard line. Pickup of about 5 yards. So far, the Blue Devils are on a 3-minute plus drive to open the ball game. Coach Gino Mangiero scripts the first 10 plays of his team's offensive possession, and thus far, they've really been looking strong out there, really moving the ball, getting the ball to Greg Charles, Malik Rodriguez, and a couple QB keepers. And they're in action right now on a 3rd and 4 from the 19-yard line. Here's Jabon from the shotgun, 2 receivers, 1 flank to the side. QB keeper, and he'll come up short of the first down line. Excellent job of sniffing that one out as the Gales force a 4th down with 8:15 to go in the first quarter. Interesting call early on. It would be roughly a 35-yard field goal from this point on the field. Kicker Nick DeRazio has this kind of range, but the Blue Devils will keep their offense on the field and put on the explosive Chris Parker in the backfield. So Jabon under center with Parker, Bernardez, and Greg Charles, and they'll run up the middle, and they'll be stuffed on 4th down. The Gales force a turnover as their offense takes the field. The stands filled to capacity, about a roughly 50-50 split in fan contention as the Iona Gales fan base makes their way down from New Rochelle to Bay Ridge, Brooklyn to watch on the first game of the season. Let's introduce the starters on offense for the Gales. Mario Biaggi, his junior year. He will now be the full-time quarterback with Shaquille Townsend and Austin Jones in the backfield. Their offensive line, Shane Morris, Matthew Carroll, Christopher Fucci, William Bishop has a deep ball, and it's pumped down the middle by Austin Jones. And on the first play on offense, Biaggi goes deep and connects with Austin Jones for 6. 6-0 lead on the Blue Devils. Biaggi to Jones. That one going 82 yards right down Broadway. 7:27 remaining in the first quarter. So much for the game plan. Speaking with Coach Victor Carollo, said he wanted to get Biaggi his rhythm early on in the ball game. He wanted to get him some short throws early on. Well, how about a 82-yard bomb on the first play of the game? Their first offensive possession of the season nets them 6, and they'll look to tackle on the PAT. Kick is up, deflected at the line, it appears, but it still splits the uprights. No good, actually. So it's a 6-0 Iona lead, and that exactly was one of the things that Coach Dino Mangero wanted his polyprep defense to work on. They play a zone defense. He wants his defensive backs to have that field awareness to keep the zones tight, but also have that field awareness to not give up the long ball. And Austin Jones was wide open as he got behind the defense. And 7:27 to go in the first quarter of play. It's 6-0 Iona. And fans, the fall edition of MSG Varsity the magazine is out. You can pick up a copy at your school or log on to msgvarsity.com/magazine. Didn't put too much air as he led his receiver, allowing him to get some excellent yards after catch. Their offense will also rely upon Shaquille Towson, the workforce back. You'll see the majority of the carries today as he kicks one off, and it's fielded at about roughly the 15. Charles cuts up the middle, and he'll be wrestled down at the 35. Second offensive possession for the Blue Devils. They'll look to actually convert this time as they were stuffed on 4th and short after reaching the red zone of Iona.
Let's go, defense! Gotta stop it, man. Let's go! Wrap the arms, boys!
That polyprep offense is really a thinking man's offense. Strong as far as talent-wise. They feature 3 of the top 50 players in New York City football. Number 10 is Kevin Jabon, and also Mike Quick ranks wide receiver Malik Rodriguez as number 25, and tight end Cameron Stapleton as his 40th best player in New York City high school football. Jabon, play action, he'll swing it up the middle to Cameron Stapleton on cue for about a gain of 5. Kevin Jabon, the quarterback, he has offers from several 1AA teams such as Bryant, Central Connecticut, and Delaware, looking to raise his stock with a strong afternoon this weekend. Last weekend, a tale of 2 halves versus Fort Hamilton in a preseason scrimmage, really, for both teams. First half, 2 pick sixes. Second half, crisp on the money and a couple excellent decisions on a couple deep throws for a couple tosses for touchdowns through the air. Here's Jabon. He'll send Charles in motion to the near side. He'll put it in the belly of Bernardez, who will cut it up the field towards the near side to the 45, and about 1 yard short of the first down with 6.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter of play. It's Gales 6, Blue Devils 0. Bernardez is the young, shifty tailback on his way to Yale next season. He'll see the majority of the carries this afternoon. Also splits time in the backfield with Austin Jones and the explosive freshman Chris Parker, who scored from 42 yards out last weekend. So it'll be a 3rd and short from the 42, 5:54 to go. Jabon will take it from the shotgun. He stumbles into his own running back, calls his own number, and scrambles up the middle, close to the first down line. And a first down as Kevin Jabon picks up the first down, moves the ball to the 47.
Come on, defense!
So the Blue Devils are in business once again as they move towards midfield. The Gales stacking the line as they dare the Blue Devils to toss it deep. The Blue Devils come out with 2 receivers Two backs in the backfield. Here's Charles in motion as Jabon rolls right, looking for a lane, cuts it down the right sideline, picking up about a gain of 2 or 3. The Poly Prep offense described by the coaching staff as similar to that of the Florida Gators. They like to do a lot of shifting, a lot of motions. It's really a thinking man's offense. Because of the high intellect of the kids which go to this school, they feel they can run a system predicated on confusion and execution, as you'll see them run mostly from the shotgun. Early on, they're working the sticks to the delight of Dino Mangiero, but nothing to show on the scoreboard. They've moved the ball exceptionally well in the first 7 minutes of play, as Jabon will take it from the shotgun. Jabon fires it to the far sideline. Dylan Lewis has it close to the marker. Appears he was just a couple yards short, as he'll pick it up from the 44-yard line. That's where the referees will mark it. 4:51 to go in the first quarter. Some of Poly Prep's keys to the game, they want to take calculated chance, work the chains, establish the run early on, because they have a lot of plays in that playbook which need to be executed based off of the run game. Meanwhile, the Gales, they just want to play smart, disciplined defense. Coach Victor Carollo said he likes the looks that this Poly Prep team does as they hand it off inside to Bernardez as he tries to jump over the pile, losing his helmet. Close to the first down, but Coach Victor Carollo of the Iona Gales has a ton of respect for this Poly Prep offense, as they have very explosive, they have a ton of playmakers. We've got to play our lanes and be disciplined on defense, or else we can give up a big play. Against Fort Hamilton in that scrimmage a week ago, Poly Prep had 9 offensive plays of 15 yards or more. So the refs will mark it short, and once again the Blue Devils will go for it on 4th and short. From the shotgun, here's Kevin Jabon. Charles and Bernardez, the backs. Jabon, low snap, hands off to Bernardez. Ball loose, and it's scooped up by the Gales off the fumble. Another 4th down stop. Fumble recorded by Vincent LaRocca. So on back-to-back defensive possessions, the Gales snuff out the Blue Devils and force a 4th down. Momentum early on the sideline of the Gales as they've gotten off to a quick start. They lead 6-0. 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter of play. They'll have a 1st and 10 from the 47. Mario Biaggi will take the snap from the shotgun. 3 receivers towards the near side, 1 towards the top of the screen. Handoff inside, Shaquille Townsend with a burst of speed, cuts through the lane and picks up about 9. Shaquille Townsend's one of those backs who can do it all. He can stay in on 3rd downs because he has good hands to catch and receive out the backfield. He can also grind it out for those tough yards as they go into a no huddle. Trips towards the near side, 1 receiver towards the top. Biaggi calling out the signal, and appears one of the Blue Devils jumped off sides. Offsides on Poly Prep, so give the Gales a 1st down. That's 2 penalties early on the Blue Devils, which will drive Coach Dino Mangiero crazy. Penalties, execution, being smart, and composure. He has a relatively young team, and that was the message he preached towards his team all week long in practice. So they're giving up a 1st down at the 39-yard line. The Gales in Poly territory for the first time of the game. Here's Biaggi, takes the snap, looks left, fires left, and connects down the left sideline. And Brandon Williams is the receiver as he's bounced out of bounds. Iona really dictating the tempo as they go into a no huddle with a split back look. As Biaggi hands it and puts it in the belly of Austin Jones, who move it up forward for a 1st down. 8-3 a year ago, Mario Biaggi, an extremely talented quarterback. He has a live arm. He can move the ball with his legs. Coaching staff loves his potential, but they just want to see him have some more composure out there, and consistency always a point of emphasis for young players. Biaggi looking right. He'll fire it up the middle, and a good slant route and connection to Omari Buster. Crisp route by Buster as he broke through the zone up the middle and picks up another first down for the Gales. Excuse me, check that. It'll be a 9-yard gain. It'll be a 2nd and 1. Quickly to the line, and it'll be a false start as Chris Fucci jumped out of his stance a little bit too soon. So they'll back them up 5 yards, and it'll be a 2nd and 6 from the 30. The Gales really look crisp on offense early on. They really wanted to dictate the tempo in this ball game. They love to run screens and quick slants and bubble routes. They just want to get the ball in the hands of their explosive receivers and let them go to work in the open field. It's Biaggi. He'll hand off to Shaquille Townsend. Townsend will cut up towards the left side and pick up the yards lost on that false start penalty. Close to the sticks, it'll be a 3rd and about 1. In a hurry, Biaggi will run to the line and snap it on 3rd and 2 from the 17. Quarterback keeper up the middle. Biaggi rumbling down inside the 10-yard line. Mario Biaggi executing efficiently with this Gales offense as they look to jump out to a 2-score lead currently in the red zone. 1st and 10 at the 17, 2:17 to go in the first quarter of play. 5-wide receiver look. Biaggi, quarterback keeper. He'll scramble up the middle, and he'll find the end zone. Mario Biaggi, and the quarterback keeper, makes it a 12-0 Iona lead. 2:05 to go in the first quarter of play. The Gales clicking on all cylinders. They lead 12-0 with 2:05 to go in the first quarter of play. The offense really having its way out there as they're picking up yardage on each play on this second drive. Their first drive featured an 82-yard touchdown right down the middle to running back Austin Jones. So pending the PAT as they'll stay on the field and go for 2, looking to make it an even 14 on the scoreboard. They'll come out in 5 wide receivers from the 3-yard line. From the gun, Biaggi will keep it. And that one excellent job by linebacker Deontay Fleming of denying him his request for 2. So the Gales lead 2-0. We're in the first quarter of play with 2:06 to go. My name is Stefan Florval. This is Camera One coverage of high school football between the Poly Prep Blue Devils and the Iona Gales. And you can keep track of all the great high school football action in the tri-state area by tuning in to a quick 60 every Tuesday night at 8 on MSG Varsity. Mike will unveil the weekly tri-state top 25 and will take your calls, emails, and tweets. Mike Quick, the guru of the gridiron, lives right here on MSG Varsity. So the Blue Devils have some work out ahead for them as they trail 20-0 to Fort Hamilton in their last preseason matchup. They trailed 20-0 at the half before rallying for 34 points in the second half. That game featured a score in the first 4 offensive possessions in the second half. They're behind the 8 ball early on, but plenty of time and plenty of offensive explosion for this Poly Prep team as they have ample opportunities to get themselves back into the ball game. Offensively, they've moved the ball quite well, but they've been squandered a couple of 4th down opportunities. It's a short kick, and it's fallen on at the 30-yard line by the Blue Devils. Brent Charles will just sit on it at the 30, and that's where they'll start off their 3rd offensive possession of the day. Timeout on the field as Coach Dino Mangiero will look to right the ship and gain some composure on his team. It's a relatively young group, a 23-man football roster, 8 players going both ways. Overcoming adversity is something that he's really tried to instill on his team. It's fighting through moments such as these, fighting through the 3rd and 4th quarters. He said, I know it's going to be a learning curve for the squad, but one day at a time, maturing every day. The team's composure, really a message that this coaching staff has relayed to them as something that they always need to be composed on the field in all moments, and it would be key in a moment such as this one as they trail 12-0 to Iona with 2:06 to go here in the first quarter. One of the big goals for this Poly Prep team is to have an undefeated 9-0 season. They've been 8-1 the last 2 years. Senior captain and offensive lineman Mike Castellana has stated that in the weight room, on the practice field, 9-0, perfect. That's what we want to do. That's where we strive to have this year. That's an accomplishment, an achievement we want to reach this season. We've lost by a single point one game this past season, and 2 years ago they lost by a single point. We've been 2 points away from back-to-back 9-0 seasons. That's something we want to reach in the 2011 campaign. They've got their work out ahead of them. They'll start from the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 with 2:05 to go in the first quarter of play. Bond will take the snap and roll right. Bond rolling down the far sideline and stopped for a loss. The Gales defense exhibiting great speed sideline to sideline in that 32 defensive front. Matthew Burney and Akil Shepard, the linebackers, really doing a good job of calling out the signals and going sideline to sideline. As you'll see, Burney, he's an active player with a relentless motor. It was a loss of 4. It will be 2nd and 14 from the 26. 3 wide receivers on the field. Greg Charles, the wingback. Bernardez with Jabon in the backfield. Jabon takes the snap, looks towards the near side, fires out to Charles, who's swinging up the field, and he's knocked out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Call it a gain of about 4. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Go deep. Deep right there, boys.
The outlook for this Gales team is if they can get everything to go, they can do big things this year. A year ago, 8-3, lost in the second round of the playoffs. A tough defeat. They had a very strong campaign, but this year with leaders Matthew Burney and Shaquille Townsend in the backfield, they're looking to have some success this year as they lead 12-0 with under a minute to go in the first quarter of play. Flag on the play, as a delay of game called on the Blue Devils, so it will back them up 5 yards to the 25. 3 penalties in the first quarter of play. Poly Prep coming out a little bit sloppy as Kevin Jabon looking to get this offense in rhythm. It's a beautiful 76-degree day here in Brooklyn, New York. Overcast day. It's been raining for the majority of the week, but the weather clearing up as we're in the shadow of the Verrazano Bridge for this highly contested football contest between the Iona Gales and the Poly Prep Blue Devils. 3rd and 15 from the 25. Here's Jabon. He'll fire right side to Charles, and he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. 15 yards short of the first down marker. So it'll be 4th down, and they'll have to punt it away as the first quarter winds down. It's a 12-0 Iona lead, and that will be the score as we head into the second quarter of play, as the two teams will switch sides. (12-0) the score after 1 quarter of play. Mario Biaggi with a pair of scores. Iona up by 2 touchdowns over the Poly Prep Blue Devils. It's high school football on MSG Varsity Camera 1. Second quarter of action ready to get started off from the Steinberg Athletic Complex on the campus of Poly Prep High School. Beautiful baseball, football complex, as Poly Prep will punt it away from their own 25. High end over kick. Fielded at about the 50-yard line is Austin Jones. He fumbles the football and it's loose at the 40-yard line. And Iona will regain possession of the ball. As a scare there, as Poly Prep possibly could have swung some momentum their way. So Iona will start in Poly Prep territory. Excellent offensive field position as they'll start from the 41-yard line, and running onto the field is that offense as Mario Biaggi is ready to go to work once again. The story in the first quarter of play is the junior quarterback really taking the reins as his first game starting as the primary quarterback signal caller for this Gale squad. They've done an excellent job of dictating the tempo on offense as Biaggi will take the snap from center, hand it off to Shaquille Townsend, and he's dropped for a loss. Jay Hayes is in on the play on that tackle for a loss. The monster man-child, as he's called out here in Brooklyn, New York, only a sophomore, 6'4", 270, getting looks from major Division I schools. Big number 76 is a player that they're going to have to pay attention to, as he's a tough force to handle on the D-line, on that defensive line. Here's Biaggi. He'll fake the handoff, take it himself, and once again he runs into the arms of Jay Hayes. It'll be a 3rd and 12 from the 43. Iona leading Poly Prep 12-0. Jay Hayes, number 76, plays with a ferocious, relentless motor. A player who's a mean-spirited player on the football field, as a 3rd and long for the Gales. Screen pass as they'll dump it off to Townsend. This is Austin Jones with room to run as he cuts it up the middle of the field, down to the 24, picking up a first down. Excellent job by Mario Biaggi to sell the defense as he sucked them in and dumped it over the top to Austin Jones as they pick up a gain of 18 for first down at the 24. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the top of the screen. Biaggi hands off to Townsend. He'll pick up roughly 4 yards as he goes off tackle near side. Big defensive stand for this Poly Prep team, because if they can't get a stop here, they'll be down 3 scores in the first half of play, similar to their last contest versus Fort Hamilton. Biaggi takes a snap, looks far side. He'll take it himself. He'll run up the middle and get down to about the 14-yard line, close to the first down marker. Biaggi doing an excellent job improvising as he's 3 yards short of a first down. Made his read at the top of the field. Didn't like the look he got, so he took it himself. Improvising for 4 yards and making it actually he picks up a first down. The refs will whistle a first down at the 14. Dino Mangero will call a timeout as he'd like to discuss some things with his defense. Mangero, this is his 6th season here at Poly Prep. Alluded to earlier, his first stint here with Poly Prep was somewhat of a doormat program, and they established them as a force as in the private school sector. His run of greatness, including 34 consecutive wins over a 4-year span. His playing days, he was an All-American at Rutgers, All-East defensive tackles, featuring a 6-year career in the NFL where he had a career-high 5 sacks with the Kansas City Chiefs. 6-year career with the Seahawks, Patriots, and Kansas City Chiefs. He was a defensive line coach at Wagner. And his first stint at Poly Prep was interrupted. He was a linebacker coach at Indiana University for about 5 seasons, and he's back home here in Brooklyn, New York. Originally from Curtis High School back in his playing days. He really brings that mean and tenacious mindset towards this Poly Prep football team. He really is a coach where he likes to focus on the fundamentals. His belief is that if he can teach his kids to catch, to tackle, to throw the ball, play the right way, that's all his kids will need to succeed. They've been extremely successful in the classroom and on the football field the past 2 seasons, and this afternoon they trail 12-0 with 9:46 to go here in the second quarter of play. Biaggi will have Townsend and Jones in the backfield. He'll throw a jump ball far sideline, and that one is reeled in by Buster Omari for a touchdown. The 3rd touchdown of the first half goes from Biaggi to Omari Buster, And the Gales lead Poly Prep 18-0. That's Biaggi's second touchdown through the air. He has one on the ground. They have an 18-0 lead. As it appears, they will go for two. He hands off to Townsend, fighting for extra yards. Looking to get in, and he's short. So Iona in their season opener, looking crisp offensively with 3 scores on their 3 offensive possessions of the game. Mario Biaggi living up to the hype early on. 2 scoring tosses through the air, 1 on the ground, doing it all, hitting his receivers and getting the extremely talented Buster Omari involved in the action, throwing an excellent fade jump ball towards the back pylon. Connecting for 6, and at 9:40 to go here in the first half of play. It's an 18-0 Iona lead. Iona will kick off. A strong week of practice, according to Coach Victor Carollo. He loved what he saw from his team. Charles will field from about the 21. He'll cut it towards the near sideline. And brought down at the 35 by Kyle Bonsi. So with 9:32 remaining here in the first half of play, the Blue Devils trail 18-0, but they've got the firepower to get back into the game in a hurry. They're an offense which has the tendency of being a slow starting offense. They like to establish themselves and see what's working on a given day. They like to try various looks. Early on, they've moved the ball, but have been stuffed on a couple 4th-and-1 opportunities. In their last offensive possession, they had to punt it. Here's Jabon, QB keeper, up the middle, cuts it towards midfield, has a lane, he's down the right sideline. Jabon, a big gain of 46 yards as he moves it to the 30-yard line. As he's in Gale, as the Poly Prep Blue Devils move it towards Gale territory. And they look to pick up some momentum, trailing 18-0, 9:23 remaining in the second quarter. Kevin Jabon has excellent agility, and right there showing some great shifty moves to kick it outside and make his way to the 30-yard line. It'll be the 29, 1st and 10. Jabon once again, QB keeper, up the middle for about a gain of 5. So about the 25-yard line, 9:10 to go here in the first half. Kevin Jabon is a quarterback who this year is the primary starter, but last year he had to split time with QB Fountain Bauta, who's on his way, who transferred, to Florida. Jabon said personally he didn't like the idea of splitting time, but this year it's his team. Fountain Bauta, an all-star caliber quarterback, could do it all, could use his legs. Excellent all-state caliber quarterback, and the team really has rallied around the notion that they were a one-man team, and throughout the efforts of Bauta, they're going to squander this year away. And Jabon will rumble up the middle into the red zone. He'll pick up a 1st down as he advances the ball down to about the 14-yard line, I believe. But the story with quarterback Fountain Bauta, his 4 older brothers played at Poly Prep. They also went on to play Division I football. His family moving to Florida, so he transfers to William T. Dwyer High School in Florida as a result. William T. Dwyer High School advanced to Florida's Class 4A state semifinals last season. Kevin Jabon really taking upon himself to be the leader this year as he swings it towards the near side, and his big receiver Malik Rodriguez will pick up a short gain of about 4 yards.
Let's make a play, boys. Come on.
Rodriguez has deceptive speed, somewhat of a possession receiver, but he can get behind you because he's a crisp route runner, very smooth in and out of his breaks. From the 9-yard line, It will be a 2nd and 4. Rodriguez to the top of the screen. Dylan Lewis to the bottom. Kevin Jabon from the shotgun. Bernardez and Charles in the backfield. Hand off to Bernardez, and he's stuffed once again. Sniffing it out was linebacker Brian Anderson. A great job of plunging the gap and collapsing and forcing a no gain on that 2nd down call. It will be a 3rd and 4 from the 9-yard line. 8 minutes to go in the first half. Blue Devils trail 18-0. 2 wide receivers, 2 backs. As Jabon takes a snap, QB keeper as he looks to fight for the first down, and he'll be short as he's wrestled down at the 10-yard line. Vincent LaRocca brings him down to the turf here at Poly Prep High School, and it'll be a 4th and 4. Poly Prep 0 for 2 on 4th down so far this evening. They'll leave the offense on the field once again. 4th and 4 from the 9-yard line, trailing 18-0. Jabon under center. Bernardez in the backfield with Charles. He'll split out Chris Parker. And a timeout as Dino Mangiero didn't like the look. So they'll go back to the sideline as there's 6:59 remaining here in the 2nd quarter of play. My name's Stefan Florval. MSG Varsity High School football, a big-time matchup between the Poly Prep Blue Devils and the Iona Gales. Both teams entering this contest and this season with high expectations, as both teams have a relatively young team. Iona returns the majority of their starters. They have a relatively young team, but a deep roster compared to Poly Prep. They have a 23-man varsity team. 8 players go both ways. The quarterback, Kevin Jabon, he'll also see times as the inside linebacker. You have players such as Malik Rodriguez starting at receiver. He'll be the free safety. Mike Bernardez, the halfback, he'll see time as the strong safety. Early on, Iona has been clicking on offense, and the defense has done an excellent job of bending but not breaking as they've stalled the Poly Prep attack on a pair of 4th downs, and this will be the 3rd 4th down. So Coach Dino Mangiero will pull his offense off the field and attempt a 26-yard field goal. The holder is Nick Casso. The kicker is Nick Durazio. Kick is up, and it's wide left, no good. So a squandered opportunity for the Blue Devils as they trail 18-0, 6:59 to go in the 2nd quarter of play. How do you keep track of all the great high school football action in the Tri-State? You tune into a Quick 60 every Tuesday night at 8 on MSG Varsity. Mike will unveil the weekly Tri-State Top 25 and take your calls, emails, and tweets. Mike Quick, the guru of the gridiron, lives right here on MSG Varsity. And Mike Quick pinpointed this game as one of the games he was really interested to see how it would play out and affect the landscape of New York City high school football. Mike Quick ranking 3 players in the top 100 from Poly Prep. And a good stick there as a screen pass is caught, and some punishment is laid out by Dylan Lewis. Appears to be no gain. Dylan Lewis had an interception for 6 points versus Fort Hamilton a weekend ago. Really a physical presence at the cornerback spot. Defensively, this Poly Prep defense features a lot of basic looks, mostly a zone team that run a lot of cover 2 and cover 3. They're really anchored up front by defensive lineman Jay Hayes. He can play on the inside or outside of the line, really versatile. Biaggi pump fakes, looking downfield, rolls towards his left, and he'll just throw it away. Good decision by the junior quarterback as nothing was available. Good job by Poly Prep as they cut off all of his options and did a good job of keeping him from scramble and using his legs. So 6:38 to go in the first half. Iona on a 3rd and 13 from their own 17-yard line. They trails 18-0. Coach Victor Carollo said Biaggi would need some game experience, but right now he looks like a senior leader. A seasoned veteran, as his first 3 drives have resulted in a pair of touchdown tosses and a touchdown run. And on this play, he's being caught in the backfield and brought down. The sack by Deontay Fleming. Excellent job of hawking down Biaggi and forcing a punt. It'll be a 4th down as the Blue Devils force a 3 and out. The freshman Deontay Fleming, a player who the coaching staff loves his upside. They put the wristband on his wrist with the defensive calls because they think he can be a senior leader on this defense one day. Excellent job of just maintaining his lane, and there'll be a flag on the play as Iona's punting from their own 8-yard line. Opportunity here for the Blue Devils to get some excellent field position. So the Gales will be backed up 5 yards. They'll punt it from their own end zone. Biaggi, he'll kick it off. Fielded by Bernardez at the 40. Fair caught. So that's where the action will kick off for this Poly Prep offense. From the 39-yard line, it'll be a 1st and 10. The game summary thus far: first possession of the game for Iona Prep. They connect on an 82-yard strike from Mario Biaggi to Austin Jones right down the middle of the field to make it a quick 6-0 advantage. Their next offensive possession, they would have a long drive as they'll take it down the field, ultimately culminating with an 8-yard touchdown keeper from quarterback Mario Biaggi. And following that, their succeeding offensive possession would result in a touchdown toss, the second of the day, from Mario Biaggi to Omari Buster, and that's where we stand. 5:46 in the second quarter of play. It's an 18-0 lead. Kevin Jabon, his turn on offense. Dishes it near side, and it's Charles. Slammed down on the near sideline by Chris Cooper. Chris Cooper and Austin Jones will be the cornerbacks for this Gale offense. They're in action today without the services of extremely talented senior cornerback Justin Combs, number 2. A dynamic player. They use him in wide receiver, primarily on defense at corner. He's a really physical, speedy player with a nose for the ball. He's being recruited currently by Illinois, UCLA, and a bevy of other schools. He's a player with a tremendous amount of talent. Early on, this Gales defense hasn't missed a beat. Here's Jabon, looks over the middle. Malik Rodriguez cuts it up down to the 30-yard line, loses the ball. It's recovered by the Gales. The referees will say he was down by contact. But Malik Rodriguez shifting towards the middle of the field. He's a big 6'3" target, and that's the portion of the field where he really can go to work. And he did damage going over the middle, picking up about a gain of, let's say, 7 yards. So it'll be a 3rd and 1. 4:40 to go in the first half. It's an 18-0 Iona Gales lead over the Blue Devils of Poly Prep. The Blue Devils looking to defend their home field in the opening game for both teams. Jabon in the shotgun. Charles in the backfield. Jabon will scramble up the middle for a 1st down to the 24-yard line. Moving the ball up and down the field hasn't been an issue for the Blue Devils. Between the 20s, they've been excellent. It's been in the red zone, and on a couple of 4th downs, they've been stalemated. The last possession, wide left on a 26-yard field goal attempt. Shotgun, 2 wide receivers. Charles in the backfield with Jabon. Jabon, low snap, eludes a tackler in the backfield. And a host of defenders bring down Jabon at the 25. No gain on the play. He'll be 2nd and 10. Under 4 minutes to go now in the first half of play. The fall edition of MSG Varsity the magazine is out, and you can pick up your copy at your school or log on to msgvarsity.com/magazine. Malik Rodriguez lined out to the bottom of your screen. As Jabon looks top, looks to Dylan Lewis. He'll go over the middle and behind Malik Rodriguez, who's behind the defense. He had a step, but the ball underthrown and out of the reach of the tall, lanky 6'3" receiver. So it'll be 3rd and 10 from the 24. Blue Devils kicker Nick DeRazio has a field goal range of roughly 36 yards or so. So you're looking at possibly 5 yards outside of his field goal range at the moment. They trail 18-0. 3:22 to go in the first half of play. Dylan Lewis to the near side. Top of the screen, Malik Rodriguez. Kevin Jabon fires to Lewis. Behind the defense for a touchdown. 24-yard strike. Jabon delivers it on the money to Lewis. Poly Prep back in the ball game. They trail 18-6. Excellent composure in the pocket as Kevin Jabon leading Dylan Lewis to the end zone for a 25-yard score, and it's 18-6 pending the PAT. 3:15 to go in the first quarter, in this first half of play, excuse me. Snap down, kick up. Off the uprights and no good. So the Blue Devils trailing 18-6. PAT off the uprights. Excellent job going through his progressions on that play, really showing excellent composure as Kevin Jabon sitting in the pocket. His first read was an underneath route. He looked top of the screen for Malik Rodriguez. That wasn't there. And then he came to Dylan Lewis behind the defense. Excellent speed by the senior Lewis, who also starts at the quarterback position for the Blue Devils. So they move it into Gale's territory, and this time they convert for 6. And if you want to see some great action photos of today's games, you just log on to msgvarsity.com and click on the photo tab. There you relive all the great moments from your favorite team. And remember, it's not just the players we have photos of, it's the fans in the stands. It's all about community. It's all right here on msgvarsity.com. My name's Stephen Florval from the beautiful campus of Poly Prep High School. Poly Prep trailing 18-6. The latest scoring action coming from Kevin Jabon. His right arm firing a strike to Dylan Lewis for a 24-yard touchdown strike. Today's game, the inaugural game of the 2011 season for both teams. Booming kick back to the 5-yard line, and it will chase Amari Buster all the way into the end zone for a touchback. The wind picking up a bit here at Poly Prep High School. It's relatively overcast day, 70 degrees. 3:15 to go in the first half of play. It'll be a 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Iona Prep scored on their first 3 offensive possessions of the ball game. Mario Biaggi doing an excellent job of really guiding this offense. Taking what the defense is given to him. He's taking a long ball shot, the first play of the game for Iona on offense, to Austin Jones, and he'll start off here and with 3 wide receivers. And Austin Jones and Shaquille Townsend flank in the backfield. Here's Biaggi. Hand off to Jones. Near side. Rolling off of the tackler. Moving all the way to the 25-yard line for some tough running by Austin Jones as he grinds out 5 yards. 2nd and 5 from the 25. Coaching staff loves the poise of Mario Biaggi. Only in his junior year, he's delivered the goods early on, and Biaggi delivers right to Amari Buster. Buster adding on to his stat line, which includes a 14-yard touchdown. He has enough for a 1st down to the 39-yard line. 2:41 remaining in the first half. 18-6. The Gales lead the Blue Devils. It's a stoppage on the field as Iona offense moving the ball for a first down. Mario Biaggi has settled in nicely into his first game of the season, showing excellent accuracy as he drops back, fires near side. That one caught by Brandon Williams. He shifts up the middle of the field, past the sticks, and a first down, but a flag on the field. That's the ability of this Iona offense. They have several weapons that put in space can do damage. Austin Jones, Buster Amari, and now Brandon Williams all seeing some action on this offensive drive. And this penalty will be on the Gales as it will back them up. Will be a holding, and it'll back them up 10 yards, and that's one of those flags that the coaches will pull their hair out as it's essentially a 10-yard flag, but essentially a loss of roughly 18 yards as Brandon Williams did a good job of cutting up the field. So they'll move the ball back to the 38-yard line. They'll replay the down. It'll be 1st and 10. 2:20 to go in the first half. 18-6, Iona leads. Biaggi rolls right. Throws it back near side to Brandon Williams. Wide receiver screen nets them a gain of about 5 yards. So it'll be 2nd and 5 as this Gales offense in no huddle 2-minute mode. Biaggi directing traffic. He has 2 receivers to his right, 1 on the near sideline. As the referees will have a stoppage in play as Mike Bernardez will jog to the near sideline. It appears he has a cut on his left arm, so while they deal with that, they'll sub in Shane Thomas to fill his position at the strong safety position. Shane Thomas, Mike Bernardez play that strong safety position, but they'll also go for 4-4 look. As Poly Prep screaming on the sideline for a timeout as a flag on the field. So it's 18-6, 1:58 to go here in the first half of play. The tempo really being dictated by the Iona Gales. Poly Prep, they're moving the ball offensively quite well. Kevin Jabon has shown his ability to pick out some yards on the ground. Mike Bernardez, one of the captains on this team, he'll be going to Yale University next season, has been relatively quiet early on. He's one of the players that really has to step up for them this season, provide them with that punch in the backfield that they need, because when he's rolling on all cylinders, he's that kind of shifty back that really won't really make you run right past you, but he'll make you miss, and he's extremely elusive. He has that deceptive speed, which when it's coming at you, it's hard to gauge. So Bernardez is all taped up, back on the field, resuming his safety position. So it'll be a 2nd and 5 from the 44. Blue Devils stack the line. As a whistle once again, it appears there will be a flag on the Gales as defensive lineman Jay Hayes is clapping. It appears there will be a false start and it'll move them back 5 yards. So a pair of penalties on this drive for the Gales. First a holding, and now recently a false start penalty. A 2nd and 10 from the 39. Biaggi rolls towards his right, looking downfield. Hayes hounding him as that one is fired out of bounds. Excellent coverage by the Blue Devils and Jay Hayes on the quarterback pressure. Number 76, Jay Hayes, only a sophomore, standing at 6'4", 270. Hasn't even grown into his full body yet, as he's one of those players that plays with reckless abandon. He's really doing an excellent job of controlling the line of scrimmage and providing some pressure on Mario Biaggi and keeping him under wraps. So a 3rd and 10 with 1:35 to go. Looking to throw the screen near side to Brandon Williams, caught at the 40. And tackled at the 43-yard line by a host of Blue Devils. So 1:20 on the clock. It will be a 4th and 10. Blue Devils trailing 18-6. Iona will be forced to punt the football as they lead 18-6 as we are under a minute to go here in the second quarter of play. 18-6, not indicative of the style and play in this first half, as a high end-over-end kick is fair caught and muffed at the 30-yard line. Mike Bernardez was the punt returner as there's a scrum for the ball. Both teams vying for possession, but Bernardez able to recoup possession of the ball. As a scare there, as Iona was almost able to pick up possession of the ball. So with 40 seconds to work here till a halftime break, Poly Prep trails 18-6. Poly Prep at their own 29-yard line. They have to go roughly 50 yards to get into considerable field goal range for kicker Nick D'Orazio. They'll come out with a 4-wide receiver look. Cameron Stapleton and Greg Charles in the slot. Tossing near side to Malik Rodriguez and drop on the near sideline, incomplete. So 33 seconds on the clock now. Will be a 2nd and 10. Flag on the play as Kevin Jabon took a shot maybe a second too late after he threw the ball. It appears there'll be a roughing the passer on Iona and a big penalty as that will move the Blue Devils up the field as they'll move the ball up 15 yards to about roughly the 44-yard line. The referees will call it the 43, so it's a 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. 33 seconds to go. Blue Devils looking to tack on some points before the halftime break. They trail 18-6. They've been in this position before. Versus Fort Hamilton, they had to scratch and claw back down 20 points. This afternoon, they were down 18-0, but they connected on a 14-yard touchdown from Jabon to Lewis. Jabon, QB keeper. He's hit for a loss of 3 yards, and the clock is moving. As Vincent LaRocca has had an active afternoon, it was him and Brian Anderson in on the tackle. Clock winding down as Poly Prep is not in a hurry to get an offensive play in, and it appears this will end the first half of play. They trail 18-6. Heading into the locker room break, 3 touchdowns combined for Mario Biaggi of the Iona Gales. 2 through the air, 1 on the ground. The lone touchdown for Poly Prep came a 24-yard touchdown from Kevin Jabon to Dylan Lewis, and that's where we stand at the halftime break. Iona 18, Poly Prep 6. Second half of play ready to get started here from the campus of Poly Prep High School. The first half witnessed Poly Prep fall behind 18-6. Mario Biaggi, 3 touchdowns for the Gales, 2 through the air. The first one, an 82-yard connection with Austin Jones, and an 8-yard scramble on his second score, and he capped off an 18-0 run for the Gales by connecting with Omari Buster on a 14-yard fade route on the back pylon, and they led 18-0. 9:4 to go in the second quarter before the Poly Prep Blue Devils would respond with a Kevin Jabon connection with. My name is Stefan Florval. We're here from the beautiful campus in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, on the campus of Poly Prep High School in the shadow of the Verrazano Bridge. Poly Prep will kick off to begin the second half of play, and D'Orazio sends it deep to the 15-yard line. Returning and stuffed at the 25, brought down is Daniel Fisher. So the Gales really were clicking open the ball game. Their first 5 possessions, they moved the ball relatively at ease, it seemed. But the Blue Devils made some adjustments. They tightened the zones, And big defensive lineman Jay Hayes really came through with an excellent second quarter play, forcing some rollout and some throwaways from the junior quarterback Mario Biaggi. So Biaggi will start from the shotgun with 2 backs in the backfield, 3 receivers. Biaggi faking the handoff and rolling towards his right, and it's big Jay Hayes there to snuff it out. Jay Hayes, the defensive end, who noted the majority of this broadcast on that defensive line for the Blue Devils, a player who Coach Dino Mangiero says is the anchor of our defense. Only his sophomore year. Our own Mike Quick says that he'll be more heavily recruited than former players from Poly Prep. P.J. Hill, who went to Wisconsin, Eric Olsen, who went to Notre Dame. Mike Quick says this is the kid that'll top both of them recruiting-wise. Biaggi running, rolling out, up the middle. He has a big gainer, and he's down the right sideline. Dashes the Poly Prep defense all the way to the 22. Pickup of about 454 yards, and it'll be a 1st and 10. Down to the Poly Prep 20. Mario Biaggi using his legs. A big gainer as they move it into the red zone. You've got to keep tabs of the junior quarterback at all times because he can leave the pocket and do some damage, and it appears the Gales offensive line jumped too soon as the left tackle and right guard got out of their stance before the ball was snapped. So it'll be a 1st and 15 from the 27-yard line. We are 1 minute into the second half of play, and already Iona has picked up where they left off in the first half. That potent offensive attack led by junior quarterback Mario Biaggi, which has garnered the praise of head coach Victor Carollo, who loves this kid. Says that his ability is matched by very few. Shaquille Townsend will bang it up the middle, break a tackle, and will be dragged down to the turf by 3 or 4 defenders for the Blue Devils. Cameron Stapleton, the free safety, in on the tackle with Dylan Lewis, Mike Castellana. Halftime adjustments, a big forte for head coach Dino Mangiero. His Poly Prep team has noted that he has been known to give those halftime speeches, which has really got the team in the right frame of mind. And a week ago versus Fort Hamilton, players said that he called out the manhood of quarterback Kevin Jabon, and it led to a big second half comeback. And it's led on that play to a big tackle for a loss in the backfield, the safety Cameron Stapleton. Cameron Stapleton coming from his defensive end position to come up with the tackle for a loss. So it will be a 3rd and 14 from the 26. Stapleton, a two-way player, playing some tight end, and on that play, playing some defensive end, shooting the gap from his three-point stance. So it'll be a 3rd and 17, 26-yard line. From this point, it'll be a 46-yard field goal. Biaggi drops back, has time in the pocket, being hounded, rolls towards his left, and he fires towards the far sideline, connects with Amari Buster, fighting towards the first down marker. He advances it to the 17, but an excellent job of picking up 12 yards on 3rd and 17, making it a 4th and manageable. It'll be roughly 4th and 5. Their field goal range from here, it'll be roughly, we'll say, about 34 yards. Some indecision on whether they'll go for it or send out the kicking unit at the moment, as there's 8:50 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Gales of Iona leading 18-6. It's officially a 4th and 6 from the 18. Biaggi rolls towards his right, fires right, has a man, caught, and it hits off the ground. Couldn't fingertip it in as Matthew Dorsey was the intended receiver. Poly Prep gets the stop they need, and they get the ball. So 8.5 minutes. Blue Devils set to take over from the 29. This is similar to what we saw from Iona in the first half. A bend but don't move defense. Iona forced 3 failed 4th down attempts from the Blue Devils in the first half. Poly Prep still very much in this ball game. Only trail 12 yards. They can move the ball. Kevin Jabon having a solid first half of play. Being smart with the football, not turning it over. That was an issue versus Fort Hamilton in the first half. He had 3 turnovers, a fumble, and 2 interceptions. And right now, he has the ball. 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. Poly Prep versus the Iona Gales, a big-time matchup in New York City. Greg Charles in the backfield with quarterback Kevin Jabon. Quarterback keeper towards the right side, picking up on about a gain of 2 yards. Coming out of the locker room, you could see a different demeanor from this Poly Prep team. They seem to have an extra edge, extra chip on their shoulders. The coaches, the assistant staff, really getting into the ear of the defensive unit in halftime warm-ups, really putting the onus and the pressure on them to step it up, get some stops, and to get back in the ball game. So Greg Charles is flanked out at wide receiver towards the near side with Malik Rodriguez. Cameron Stapleton to the stop of the screen. Jabon looks left side, fires over to Charles as he advances up the field. Good spin move and picks up a first. That's the shifty wingback, Greg Charles, picking up a gain of 15 yards all the way to the 32. It's a Poly Prep first down. Iona has done an excellent job of giving the underneath stuff up, but taking away the deep intermediate routes from the Blue Devils. Iona, they'll stack the line as they come out in their 32 defense. Jabon rolls towards his left. He'll move his legs, churning forward. There'll be a gain of about 6 yards as Jabon's spinning off of a tackler. Defensively for the Iona Gales, you'll notice that defensive end Cameron Tedder, number 55, has really stepped it up in his senior year this year. This is a big year for him to really establish himself as one of the best defensive ends in the state of New York. He has a relentless motor. He really has a very good arsenal of pass rush moves. He can use his hands very well to disengage blockers. So it'll be a 2nd and 3 from the 41. 6:30 to go in the third quarter of play. Gales lead the Blue Devils 18-6. Quarterback keeper, and he'll dive it forward over left tackle for a first down. Poly Prep, their offensive philosophy is when their offense is not working, they'll scale it back some and they'll quote-unquote dumb it down to just get some fundamental plays, get some dives, get some screens, just to get some momentum for this offense to get things going. As Mike Bernardez and Greg Charles join Kevin Jabon in the backfield. Fake handoff, play action, and is short of tight end Cameron Stapleton. That play action play is what those quarterback dives and those handoffs to the running back, that's why they're designed for. This is a big play action team. As opposed to, on the other sideline, the Iona Prep Gales, they're more of a pro-style passing offense. But for Poly Prep this second half, you've got to imagine halfback Mike Bernardez, one of the captains of this team, and really an integral force in their ground game. Really has been quiet in the first half of play. Only a couple carries for minuscule yards as Jabon will drop back. He fires it near side, and that one's out of the reach of Malik Rodriguez. The wide receiver coming up limping a little bit on that out route. Good pressure by the Gales defense. .552 to go in the third quarter of play. My name is Stephan Florival. MSG Varsity presents Camera One coverage of New York City high school football. in Brooklyn, New York. We're in the campus of Poly Prep High School as the Poly Prep Blue Devils are taking on the Iona Gales. They trail by 12 points at the moment. They trail 18-6, 5:52 to go in the third quarter of play. In the shotgun is Kevin Jabon. Jabon, three receivers towards his right. He'll fire it and almost intercepted by Matthew Burney. The linebacker with a diving attempt at a turnover, but nothing doing as it was just past his reach. So it will be a 4th and 10 for the Blue Devils. And they'll send out the punting unit.
Mel, take your time. You got time. Go.
Iona sending back Daniel Fisher and Austin Jones to return this. Cameron Stapleton will punt it away from his own 46-yard line. Stapleton gets good hang time on this, and it's fair caught at the 33-yard line by Fisher. So that's where Iona will resume their offensive prowess in the second half. From the 32-yard line, they'll have a 1st and 10 with 5:40 remaining in this contest. And fans, if you want to see some great action photos of today's game, all you have to do is just log on to msgvarsity.com and click on the photo tab. There, you'll relive all the great moments from your favorite team. And remember, it's not just the players that we display. We have photos of you, the fans, in the stands. It's all about community, and it's all right here on msgvarsity.com. The unsung heroes this afternoon for Iona have been Shane Morris, Matthew Carroll, Christopher Fucci, William Bishop, and Brandon Brennan. That right there is the offensive line for the Gales left to right. They've done a good job of keeping the jersey of Mario Biaggi clean. He's had a good amount of time in the pocket of picking receivers downfield and has established an excellent rapport with Buster Omari and Brandon Williams this afternoon. Biaggi going deep down the left side and knocked out of the hands of receiver Nathaniel Estes. On the stick was Nick Castle, doing an excellent job from his safety position to really lay the wood and force the incompletion. So it'll be a 2nd and 10 from the 33-yard line, a stoppage in play. Coming into the season, the outlook for both teams is one of high expectation. Both teams are really expecting to have some growing pains early on, relatively young, both sides of the ball, especially for Poly Prep, who starts 8 players on both sides of the ball, a 23 football player roster, but some senior leadership at some key spots for Poly Prep. They have quarterback Kevin Jabon, they have running back Mike Bernardis, a couple of players who've taken upon themselves to really be the leader of this Poly Prep team. They've staged some off-season workouts, and similar to for Iona, you'll find some leadership with inside linebacker Matthew Burney in his junior year. He's really one of the unspoken leaders of that defensive unit. Him, Cameron Tedder, they really put it upon their teammates. They really set the tempo for this defensive unit and overall the team. And a very extremely talented backfield for the Gales as Shaquille Townsend and Austin Jones, a pair of players who, according to Coach Victor Carollo, really can come into their own this season and are explosive. That's the one word when you talk about the Gales and you talk to the coaching staff. What do you think about your running backs? Explosive. The receivers, they're explosive. Explosive on the defensive line. We get a good push on the offensive line. Dylan Lewis walked off the field under his own power. So we'll resume play from the 33-yard line of the Iona Gales. They lead 18-6 with 5:35 to go here in the third quarter of play. Biaggi will have 3 receivers, 2 backs in the backfield. High snap, pulls it out of the belly of Townsend as he takes it himself and is wrapped up for a loss of about 2-3 yards. It's been an extremely productive afternoon by Jay Hayes as he blows up that play in the backfield for a loss of 1. So 3rd and 11 from the 33-yard line. Number 76, you're looking at a player who'll be playing big-time football on Saturdays at the collegiate level one day. 6'4", 270. 3rd and 11. 4 wide receivers. Biaggi moving up in the pocket. And Cameron Stapleton is there for the sack. A 2-yard loss as Stapleton comes up and forces the 3 and out on the Gales. And they'll have to punt it as it'll be 4th and 11. 18-6 the score. Iona leading Poly Prep. It was supposed to be a clear afternoon all day long, but some rain picking up as some slight drizzling on the field. The majority of this week, Poly Prep and Iona have been practicing in a torrential downpour, really prepping for their first game of the season today. So here's the punt. Biaggi, a high kick, not a lot of distance as it bounces on the near sideline and out of bounds at the 40. So that's where Poly Prep will begin their second offensive possession of the second half. Rain starting to pick up a bit as the fans in the stands run for cover. Poly Prep has 16 minutes to tie up this ball game. There's 4:05 to go here in the third quarter play. They trail 18-6. They'll go to the shotgun. Kevin Jaban with Greg Charles in the backfield. Dylan Lewis and Malik Rodriguez, the receivers. Jaban takes a snap, sprints towards his right, looking to cut it up the field. Has a lane down the right sideline and picks up a gain of about 12 for a first down. The QB keeper for the dual threat as he calls his own number and scrambles forward for a first down. The referees are going to say that he stepped out of bounds at the 49-yard line, so it will be a 2nd and 1 from the 49. Kevin Jaban has displayed his dual threat ability this afternoon. As he's joined once again by Bernardes and Charles in the backfield. 2nd and 1, 49. Jaban, QB dive, pounds forward and picks up a first. Chopped down at the 48-yard line by Michael Florio and a host of other tacklers. Poly moving it into Iona territory as the rain and weather take a turn for the worse. There's 3 minutes remaining here in the third quarter of play. Gales stack the line with 3 safeties. Screen pass to Rodriguez near side. He'll pick up a gain of about 3 as he bowls forward to the 45-yard line. Malik Rodriguez dealing with some hamstring issues at the moment, as well as quarterback Kevin Jaban, who missed practice all of last week heading into that Fort Hamilton contest. He had a groin pull. The limited reps in practice he saw last week, replacing them this week as he was a full go all week. Those reps are something that Coach Dino Mangero is saying are crucial for him to get under his wings as he prepares for this 2011 season. As the full-time quarterback, we alluded to earlier in the broadcast that he split time last year with star quarterback Fulton Bauta, no longer here at Poly Prep, transferring to William T. Dwyer High School in Florida. Rolling right, here's Jaban. Jaban will fire it right side into coverage and out of the reach of Nick Castle. Great defense there by Chris Cooper. Stride for stride with the wide receiver. 1:44 to go here in the third quarter of play. 12-point deficit for the Blue Devils of Poly Prep. It will be a 3rd and 10 from the 48. they've had relatively moderate success on offense. They've moved the ball but have unable to sustain multiple long drives for touchdowns. Let's recap the game. First possession of the game, Mario Biaggi, connected with Austin Jones for an 82-yard touchdown. The next possession, Biaggi would sneak it in on an 8-yard touchdown run before going through the air for a 14-yard touchdown score. On 3rd and 10, he'll fire it deep and has a man on the right sideline, and it's Dylan Lewis picking up a first down at the 21. Going to the ground, using his body to corral that one, and Poly Prep is in business. A 27-yard connection, Javon to Lewis. Those two connected for the last score of the game, a 24-yard touchdown strike at the 3 of the second quarter of play, so we stand at 18-6. 1.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. Here's Poly Prep. They'll take the snap from the 21. Castle to the top as Kevin Javon is brought down in the backfield. Bringing him down has been Brian Anderson, who shot the gap, the senior linebacker. Sniffed out the QB sneak on that one as Kevin Javon looking to cut it up the field, but Brian Anderson really did an excellent job of plugging that gap. It was Brian Anderson going behind the blocking of the Blue Devils, who are just trying to make sure they can get a hand on big Cameron Tedder at the defensive end spot. So 2nd and 12 from the 24-yard line, 30 seconds remaining in the third. Jump pass, middle of the field, and it's Cameron Stapleton down to the end zone for a touchdown. 24-yard connection. Kevin Javon finds Cameron Stapleton on the jump toss, and Poly Prep back into the contest. They cut the deficit, 18-12, 27 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Both of Poly Prep's touchdowns are 24-yard touchdowns. One to Dylan Lewis, one to Cameron Stapleton as they attempt the PAT with Nick DeRazio. Snap down, kick up, and it's good. 27 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It's an 18-13 deficit. The comeback kids looking for a repeat encore performance as they trail 18-13. 18-13 score. The scoring in this contest has slowed down a bit in the first quarter. Iona Prep scored quickly on the first two offensive possessions. Their next offensive possession in the second quarter witnessed another touchdown. But Iona has been scoreless for the previous 21 minutes of football. It's a deep kick by DeRazio. Sends Buster Amari back towards the 5. He'll cut it up the field and be tackled at the 27. 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter of play. And a reminder to the fans, you can keep track of all the great high school football action in the Tri-State by tuning into a Quick 60 every Tuesday night at 8 on MSG Varsity. Mike Quick unveils the weekly Tri-State Top 25 and takes your calls, emails, and tweets. It's Mike Quick, the guru of the gridiron, and he lives right here on MSG Varsity. So it's Biaggi looking to get Iona some momentum back after the latest score from the Blue Devils. Biaggi looking deep and firing down far sideline. Brandon Williams, and it's intercepted by Chris Parker. The freshman, Chris Parker, picks it off, and the Blue Devils offense will get back on the field as they look to edge out this Iona team as they scored the last 13 points. Right there, Biaggi throwing into coverage and leading his receiver, Brandon Williams, a little bit too far down the left sideline. That never say die attitude reflected by Coach Dino Mangiero in his 6th year here at Poly Prep. Head coach since 2006, a former defensive lineman in the NFL. Here's Kevin Javon looking near side. He'll fire it over to Charles, looking to wiggle upfield, and an excellent tackle there as slam down to the turf, and that's how the third quarter of play will end. It'll be an 18-13. Gales just holding on to that advantage. Poly Prep with the football. You're watching MSG Varsity high school action of New York City football. The referees are situating the chains as the Iona Gales defense looking to get off the field and get the offense back to the ball. The offense started fast and furious this afternoon. Mario Biaggi, 3 touchdowns, but showing a little bit of his experience on that last drive. An interception to Chris Parker. As Kevin Jabon rolls right, and a gang of Gales are there and force a loss on that play. Cameron Tedder in on the action, as well as Brian Anderson and a slew of other Golden Domers. .5 minutes remaining in this ball game. It'll be 3rd and 13 from the 39. Poly Prep comes out with 2 receivers. Castle flanked to the top of the screen. Dylan Lewis to the near side. Jabon takes a snap, looks over the middle for Stapleton, who goes right through his hands. It appears it was deflected a bit by Daniel Fisher. With the big 6'3" target over the middle, couldn't bring that one in. So they'll have to punt it. It'll be 4th and 13 from the 39. Couple ticks over 11 minutes to go. This has been a heavily fought contest, which has lived up to the billing of 2 of the best teams in the New York tri-state area. Iona entering this game off an 8-3 season, a second-round playoff defeat, looking for more this season. Poly Prep, 8-1 the past 2 seasons, looking for the perfect season. As Cameron Stapleton will loft one high and force a fair catch from Daniel Fisher. Caught at the 29-yard line. Overall, if you would grade the afternoon for Mario Biaggi, it's been a mixed bag with more good than bad. The bad was on that latest play, the Gales' last offensive possession, that interception when he lofted it into coverage. But for the majority of the afternoon, he's looked composed. He's delivered the ball to the positions on the field where it's needed to be. So they'll run a little bit of a wildcat as they hand it off inside to Shaquille Townsend. Taking the snap on that one, it appeared it was Fabian Reese. Mario Biaggi currently on the sideline as Fabian Reese taking the snaps. Reese has Townsend in the backfield and 3 receivers to the near side. Here's Reese. He'll cut it up down the middle of the field. He'll pick up a gain of about 10 and slammed down by Matt Bernard it is, but not before he picks up an Iona Gales first down. Gales leading the Blue Devils 18-13, 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Fabian Reese also in his junior year as well, seeing some time here. First action of the afternoon. He fires that one high over the head. Is it a live football? They'll say it was a forward pass and not a backwards lateral. That one was intended for Austin Jones. Accuracy errant on that play. So 2nd and 10 from the 40. 10 minutes remaining in the contest. Iona looking to hold on after jumping out to an early 3-touchdown advantage. They led 18-0, but they haven't scored a point since the 9:40 mark in the second quarter. Is Reese inside game and bursting with rule, and a first down is Austin Jones. It'll be a pickup of 16. Jones down to the Blue Devil 44. The Jones-Townsend backfield duo have done a good job of establishing the run game as they move quickly. Here's Reese. Pulls it down, and he's slammed down by Jay Hayes. Another tackle for loss for the sophomore. A strong afternoon for Big Jay Hayes. A man-child on the field. He'll play some defensive end, some defensive tackle. Also start on the offensive line on motor, which is non-stop. Forces a loss of 3, and it'll be 2nd and 13 from the 47. And a good stick at the 47, nothing gained there. As the quarterback, Kevin Jaban, I believe, in the hole, laying a big hit. Excuse me, Cameron Stapleton laying the big hit. Third and 13. Blue Devils looking for a stop now as there's 8:45 remaining in the ball game. They trail, 18-13. Here's Fabian Reese. Looking right, pumps. He'll fire down the sideline. Jump ball incomplete. Excellent job in coverage as both Nick Casso and Chris Parker were there to harass Brandon Williams of the Gales. So the Gales will punt it back to Poly Prep. The Blue Devils doing an excellent job not falling for the pump fake. This team featured 2 highly touted offenses, but the defense has stepped up recently. It's been, since the first quarter of play, really a defensive slugfest back and forth. A game of field position. And this one is lofted high, and it will bounce at the 20 and will roll towards the end zone of Poly Prep. And it will die at about the 6-yard line. So that's where the Blue Devils of Poly Prep will have to go. They'll have to march 94 yards with 8:17 as they trail 5 points, 18-13 in the fourth quarter of play. Poly Prep offensively, they'll look to get some things going. They have a slew of targets to get involved in the game. They have big tight end Cameron Stapleton, but one player missing in action at the moment is receiver Malik Rodriguez, number 7. He has a verbal commitment to the University of Ohio. He's a smooth route runner, 6'3", good frame, but dealing with a hamstring issue as a swing pass over to Charles on the left side, and there's a flag on the play. That one went for a gain of about 5, but let's see where this one is whistled on. It appears it will go against the Blue Devils and bring it back. As there's an injury timeout on the field, so let's recap this ball game so far. Iona Prep and Poly Prep both came into this game sights high on picking up win number 1 of the season. Early on, Iona jumped out to an 18-0 advantage. All of this happening in the first 14 minutes of action. It was Mario Biaggi. How did he respond to being the sole quarterback, being the leader of the offense? Well, he started on his first play of the season with a bang, an 18-yard touchdown to Austin Jones. Next possession. After a long sustained drive, Mario Biaggi would take it 8 yards in for a touchdown run, untouched up the middle. And their following offensive possession, he would strike on a 14-yard toss to Amari Buster on a fade route. Beautifully placed ball on the back pylon that made it 18-0. Poly Prep would respond. A couple drives later, Kevin Jaban would strike with Dylan Lewis for 24 yards, and their next score would come at the 27-second point in the third quarter play as Cameron Stapleton would catch another 24-yard touchdown. This one from Kevin Jaban, and at the moment it is an 18-13 Iona Prep Gales lead. 8:10 remaining in the contest as it's going to be a 1st and 10 from the 5-yard line. No indication on what the flag was, as both teams settle in for the final 8-minute roller coaster ride. This game has been a seesaw, back and forth affair. Extremely entertaining, as we've seen two of the best teams in the New York City tri-state area duke it out. Star power on both sides, as we've seen both teams go tit for tat. Iona just a tad better at the moment. So from their own 5-yard line, it will be 1st and 10. 3 receivers and a tight end. Nick Casso, Chris Parker, and Dylan Lewis, the receivers. Javon drops back. Swings it near side to Parker, and Parker is in the end zone and tackled for safety. They tried the bubble screen. The Gales sniffed it out and tack on to their 5-point lead. They lead 20-13. 7:49 remaining in the ball game. So unless Poly Prep can boom this will give the Gales good field position with 7:49 to go here in the fourth quarter. DeRazio will kick it off the tee. He puts one high. It sends back Fisher to his 30-yard line. Here's Fisher looking for lane right side, tripped up. He'll reach the 44. So a good return of about 14 yards. Puts Iona Prep in prime position as they're at the 44-yard line. 7:44 remaining in this ball game, and Mario Biaggi is back on the field to take the snaps. He was relieved for one offensive possession, last possession by Fabian Reist, who guided Iona into Poly Prep territory, but not before Poly Prep would force a punt. So it's a 2 wide receiver look. There's Biaggi. He hands off inside. Running hard is Shaquille Townsend. Townsend with a gain of, we'll call it 3. This is the time of the game where Coach Victor Carollo says he turns towards his workhorse, his power back, Shaquille Townsend, a guy who he doesn't have to take off the field because he's a 3-down type of running back. The mindset for Iona, move the ball, take some time off that clock, and put under wraps win number 1 of the season. Biaggi will take the snap from shotgun. Hands off once again to Shaquille Townsend. He has a lane on the right side, cutting up down the numbers all the way to the 32-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards for Shaquille Townsend. 1st and 10. The Iona Gales moving in to Poly Prep territory. .6:52 remaining in the fourth quarter of play. Iona marching. They're currently with the ball at the 32-yard line, excuse me. 1st and 10, 2 receivers. There's Biaggi. Hand off, Townsend. Grinding out yardage and pushing the pile forward for a 1st down. Good inside running from Shaquille Townsend as he draws a roar from the Iona fan base. The junior running tough, as Iona looking to put away and put the final touches on their first contest of the season. Poly Prep will call for a timeout, but the sideline for the Iona Prep Gales is up and amped. As some tough running from Shaquille Townsend, some help from his offensive lineman to push that pile forward as he picks up a 1st down as they're all the way down to the 20-yard line with 6.5 minutes to go in the ball game. And you can see some great action photos of today's game by logging on to msgvarsity.com. Click on the photo tab, and there you'll relive all the great moments from your favorite team. And remember, it's not just the players. We have photos of you, the fans, in the stands. And it's all about the community, and it's all right here on msgvarsity.com. The second half of football has witnessed a combined 9 points of football scoring for the Poly Prep Blue Devils. Kevin Jabon connecting with Cameron Stapleton on a 24-yard touchdown. And in a dangerous zone, they had it on their own 5-yard line. They tried a bubble route to Chris Parker, and well anticipated by the Gales as they forced a safety and tack on 2 points, and they lead 20-13 with 6.5 minutes to go in this ball game. This a big defensive possession for the Poly Prep Blue Devils. They need a stand here and to force either a turnover or at least limit the Gales to a field goal, because they trail by 7 points. Time dwindling down for Poly Prep in their season opener, their home opener. A perfect 9-0 season has eluded them the previous 2 seasons. They've been 8-1. Iona last undefeated back in 2008. So Biaggi will take the snap. He'll hand off inside to Towson, looking to go off tackle and brought down. Jay Hayes and Mike Bernardez in on the action on that one. No gain on the play. It'll be a 2nd and 10. Clock inching closer to the 6-minute mark now. Forward progress marks the ball at the 20-yard line. Towson was pushed back to his own 26, but momentum stopped at the 20. Some extra beef and muscle in the backfield alongside with quarterback Mario Biaggi as he hands off to Towson, running inside. And tackled at around the 18-yard line as they continue to work that clock. We're down now to 5.5 minutes. Poly Prep trailing 20-13. It'll be a 3rd and 10, and there's a timeout on the field. Primetime players making primetime plays in winning moments such as these. As Shaquille Towson, this has really been the drive where he's put his fingerprints on this game. He had a big-time drive to move them deep into Poly Prep territory. And now they're just grinding away at that defense, a defense which has 8 starters, which also start on offense. Conditioning may be a factor at this portion of the game because Poly Prep has been witnessing this Iona team go up and down the field with a no-huddle offensive attack. Some tired legs on that field, but they're going to have to grind out 5.5 more minutes as it's going to be a 3rd and 8 from the 18-yard line. The Gales from here would be attempting a 35-yard field goal. The offensive line from the Gales doing a stellar job, especially in between the tackles, that those guards and centers getting a good push. And defensively, it's been a game for Poly Prep where they've got to clean up some things. But if you look at the overall grand scheme of things, they wanted to work on their composure, where they've done an excellent job by trailing 18-0 and keep fighting and grinding away. Defensively, clearing up some things, coming into their own, and they've held Iona scoreless on their side of the ball for the previous 33.5 minutes of football. But now a big 3rd and 8, 5.5 minutes to go. 2 wide receivers for Mario Biaggi. Shaquille Towson in the backfield. Fakes the handoff. They'll fire it deep into coverage and hook for a touchdown. Right on the money. Biaggi hooks up again with Buster Amari. Their 2nd combination for a score. Biaggi's 3rd touchdown overall, and it gives the Iona Gales a 26-13 lead. 5:29 remaining. Biaggi doing an excellent job. A little bit cold. He hadn't thrown a football on the football field for roughly 6 minutes of game action. And this entire drive featured Shaquille Towson in runs, but they play action, go to a pass, and the PAT is blocked. So it's 26-13 with 5:29 to go in the ball game. For Mario Biaggi, what more could you want from the junior? responding to that interception thrown earlier in the second half of play in the third quarter and delivering a strike to Omari Buster, excuse me. An 18-yard hookup and a touchdown right on the numbers. Splitting the corner and the safety. That little window was all he needed as he exploits to give the Iona Prep Gales a 2-touchdown advantage. Iona coaching staff and the Poly Prep coaching staff, they thought that this game would be a true barometer game to see where they stand overall as a team. You measure yourself against the other great teams in the New York Tri-State area. While they've both been going blow for blow in this 12-round battle, Iona just a little bit better, and right now edging out Poly Prep 26-13. The kickoff fielded at the 25 by Chris Parker. Parker looking for a lane, can't find anything, and he'll be tackled at about the 31-yard line. So 5:23, Kevin Jabon's gonna have to work his magic. They trail by 13 points, 1st and 10. They'll start from the 29. Dino Mangiero having a talk with his senior quarterback before the beginning of this offensive possession. His standout receiver, Malik Rodriguez, has missed the majority of the second half, really dealing with some hamstring issues. He's been limited in this game. Nick Castle and Dylan Lewis are the receivers. Cam Stapleton, the tight end. Bond looking for a receiver, surveys the field, and has Lewis over the middle. Pass a little bit underthrown, but a flag on the play. Infraction for a late hit as Kevin Jabon was hit a couple seconds after he delivered the ball, so they'll pick up 15 yards. So they'll get it from the 44, so it'll be a 13-point deficit, 5:17 remaining in the ball game. Poly Prep still has ample opportunity to get themselves on the right side of the scoreboard. They just have to move with a sense of urgency. Time is not on their side. So they have a pair of backs out there, Greg Charles and Mike Bernardez, Nick Castle, Dylan Lewis, the wide receivers. 2 receivers, 1 flank to both sides of Kevin Jabon. The Gales with 9 players in the box. Jabon takes a snap. Drops back, fires left side. Out of the reach of Dylan Lewis, looking for his second receiver on the left. So it'll be a 2nd and 10 from the 44. The Gales doing a good job of getting pressure and getting into the line of sight of Kevin Jabon. They forced that throw. He had to throw over a linebacker. As he had to move his feet, and usually when you have to move your feet as a quarterback, that does not spell success. So Jabon will take a play off. They'll put Chris Parker in. Parker usually serves as somewhat of a wildcat type of quarterback, very explosive for a freshman, excellent speed and explosion. So Parker will take the snap. He'll fake a pass, and he'll cut it up the field, and he's got a lane. Here's Parker going. Watch him move, and he'll go down to the 49. Pickup of about 6 for Parker as Jabon will make his way back onto the field. Couple ticks under 5 minutes to go in the ball game. Iona Prep leading Poly Prep 26-13. It'll be a 3rd and 3 from the 49.
Watch the seam.
Gales showing blitz. They rush 4. Jabon will be a QB keeper. He's close to the 1st down line. It appears he has it at the 44-yard line as we are at 4:25 on the clock. Iona really just sitting back on defense, trying to work that clock, just not give Poly Prep the quick scores. Poly Prep work with a sense of urgency as they try to get in and out of that huddle, getting the signs from the sideline and trying to move quickly. They go back to two wide receivers, both flanked towards the right of Jabon. Jabon looks towards his right. He'll fire it deep and underthrown as an excellent pressure by Brian Anderson. The linebacker has been in the Poly Prep backfield all afternoon long, and he forces the short throw, getting a QB pressure. Jabon, a tough kid at quarterback for the Blue Devils, as he's took a couple shots in the backfield as in positions such as this. Iona Prep knows that Jabon has to drop back and throw a couple times. They know that they're in a position where they can just pin their ears back and come after the quarterback, as Jabon will go to the sideline, holding his left wrist a little bit. So Chris Parker will be the quarterback. It's Parker in the backfield with Bernardez, and Charles Scott. Greg Charles, Charles in motion towards the right. Parker looking, fires over the middle. He has wide receiver Dylan Lewis to the 40-yard line. 3:50 remaining. That'll bring up a manageable 3rd and 5. Kevin Jabon back onto the football field, a little dinged up, but the senior leadership wants to be in the game in a crucial moment such as this one. It'll be Jabon with Bernardez in the backfield with Charles. Two wide receivers. Clock ticking under 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Bernardez catches a swing pass, looking to cut it up for a first down, and he's got it and more. And he's out of bounds at about the 29-yard line.
First down.
And even more important, he gets out of bounds, stopping the clock at 3:11. Poly Prep looking for an inconceivable comeback. They're down 13 points with 3:11 to go on the clock. 26-13 to score. It'll be a 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. Iona Prep backing off a bit on defense as they put two safeties for deep coverage. Here's Jabon. Looks left side, avoiding the pressure, and is brought down. Malik Joseph with the sack on Kevin Jabon. Two explosive defensive ends for this Iona defense. Malik Joseph and Cameron Tedder, and they've made life hard this afternoon for Kevin Jabon. They push him back 5 yards. Will be a 2nd and 15 at the 37, and appear 5 more yards on a false start, so we'll push them back even further to the 42. So it'll be 2nd and 20 from the 42-yard line with 2:45 remaining in the contest. Iona can sniff out their first victory. They can taste it. They're 2:41 away. They lead 26-13. Poly Prep breaks the huddle. Two wide receivers. Greg Charles, the wing back, joined by Mike Bernardez. Jabon will fire it deep. Jump ball. Kicked off. And that's Chris Cooper moving down the left sideline into Poly Prep territory. Still moving. And he advances it all the way to the 36-yard line. Chris Cooper putting the final touches as Iona Prep leads 26-13 with 2:10 remaining. The Iona Prep defense has gotten the stop that they've needed all afternoon long, and Chris Cooper puts the final touches on what has been a strong all-around performance by this Gales team. The offense really clicking this afternoon. Four combined touchdowns from junior quarterback Mario Biaggi. The defense, Cameron Tedder, Malik Joseph. Really stepping up today, as well as linebackers Brian Anderson, Matthew Burney, really having a strong afternoon. So now it's just time to chip away at that clock as they hand it off to Shaquille Towson, who has a first down and a big-time run. Towson rumbling forward, 20-yard gain. The junior running back having his way as he moves his way into the Poly Prep secondary. As we are now at 2:02 on the clock. Iona starting off the season the way Victor Carollo had imagined, a team with a ton of ability, with consistency, as Shaquille Towson will cut it up towards the right sideline and tackled to the ground. Shane Thomas, good job on the wrap-up as he stuffs him for a negligible gain. But for Iona Prep, they really just needed some gain experience for a lot of their guys to get their feet underneath themselves, and this would be an impressive win this afternoon on the campus of Poly Prep. Shaquille Towson continues to bang it away and grind out more yards and eat away the clock. Clock currently at 1:10. Gales of Iona Prep leading 26-13. As there's currently 1 minute on the clock now, give a ton of credit to Poly Prep. They get a valiant effort all afternoon long as Shaquille Towson is bursting through the middle, cutting back up the middle and in the end zone for 6. Flag on the play, but Shaquille Towson at the moment scores the 32nd point of the afternoon as Iona Prep leads 32-13 with 47 seconds, and it's coming back on a holding penalty. So that will wipe that touchdown off the board. From the Poly Prep perspective, they've had a good showing this afternoon. They won't come out victorious, but defensively, they came out to a slow start. That no-huddle Iona Prep attack really catching them a little bit off guard early on in the ball game as Iona struck quickly for an 82-yard touchdown, first play of the game. And those next two possessions that they had in the first half, they really moved it quickly and established the tempo in this ball game. Offensively, a grab bag of sorts. Mike Bernardez struggled a little bit. Kevin Jabon doing his best, staying in there under fire this afternoon, finding Cameron Stapleton for a touchdown. Also finding Dylan Lewis in the end zone. But not enough this afternoon as this Iona Prep team, led in large part by Shaquille Towson, who continues to churn away and pick up more yardage. As there's a late flag on that play. It was a 3rd and 6 from the 18. Towson picking up the first down to the 6-yard line. As we now have 36 seconds remaining in this ball game. But for Poly Prep, how they rebound and recover from this one will be key towards the rest of the season, as this one will be coming back as well. As it appears there's a flag on Iona Prep, as they'll move it back. But this was a team which had its sights set on being a 9-0 team. They've come short the last 2 years, going 8-1. A young team, while young, with very good composure, very good leadership, a very mature team. The caliber of student and athlete on this team is very telling about the Poly Prep High School overall. As you'll see players who with great, as they'll just kneel on the ball for Poly Prep. What a learning experience nonetheless. But Iona Prep, they'll pick up win number 1 on the season. A strong performance by quarterback Mario Biaggi as he strikes for 4 combined touchdowns. The Gales improve to 1-0 on the season as they pick up their first victory in the season opener, 26-13 over the Poly Prep Blue Devils. So as we mentioned, 4 touchdowns for Mario Biaggi, a pair of touchdown tosses for quarterback Kevin Jabon of the Blue Devils. That will do for us here at MSU Varsity. Your final score, Poly Prep 13, Iona Prep 26. For all the staff here involved at MSU Varsity, I'm Stephanie Ford saying have a good afternoon.